Hi, and welcome to another episode of Wine and Wisdom. I'm Thomas Hoang, and you're listening to the TL podcast, where knowledge is shared and no one takes themselves too seriously.
Good afternoon, everybody.
How are we, guys?
Thanks, Evan. How are you doing?
We are live, right? Yes, it says live in the corner.
We are live, so let's start with the wine. Cam, what have you got?
Cam's usually
I
whining.
have. Hey,
You're usually whining about something.
usually wine. Mate, all day I've just prepared myself to not. All right, so I put some effort in this week, or at least I thought I did until I did Vineyard.
What is that?
It's a 2018 Shiraz from the Leewin Estate.
Art series.
On the art series range, which you can never really go wrong. I found an art series Chardonnay today for $207. This isn't it. This is
Really?
the Shiraz. Now, I think I've been hindered because so many people have drank it and rated it that my rating on Vivino is probably not where it should. But I can't wait to try it. I thought it was probably red weather, and I'm feeling a bit under the weather, so I'm hoping a couple of reds sort of fixes it up for me. But
Nice.
never go wrong. Never had a bad one from this estate. Never had a bad one from the art series, and they usually got a pretty funky label. So get amongst it.
Nice.
Margaret River, guys. Margaret River too. Can't go wrong.
Oh, so what is it? It's a $60, $70 bill?
No, $40 I got it for.
Oh, wow. Well done.
Wow, that's good.
That's good.
$40.
What year?
2018.
So it's Margaret River, right? Leewin Estate?
Margaret River, yes. That was one of the first five. It was there was 5 founding wineries in Margaret River, and Leewin, I don't know how you pronounce it. Leewin Estate was one of the first 5. The art series, they say, is dedicated to the art of making wine, but also the culture of the region and the culture of the country. Usually it's some sort of indigenous art on their labels.
Yeah.
I don't, obviously, anyone who watches more than once knows that I'm not really a red drinker, but if you're going to do it the right way. So we'll see how we go.
Very good. I'm sure it's going to be nice.
Nice.
Well, I'll go next. I'm pretty sure we've had Petaluma before, haven't we? I'm not sure if we've had this year. So it's a Shiraz 2017 from the Adelaide Hills. So
We've only had the Chardonnay, Lou, so you did all right.
Oh, okay, good. But I know it's a good wine, but I've had it sitting here open, ready to go. But I got this on special as well. I think it was $30 or something. So yeah, hopefully it's a good one, but I'm sure it will be. Every other type is. So that's me. What do you got, Chris?
Awesome. I've got a Gruner Veltliner, which is a wine that's very similar to Sauv Blanc. It should have a bit of acid with maybe a bit of a honey finish. This is grown in Canberra. The actual wine, the grape originated from the foothills of the Alps in Austria, and it's actually that part of Austria now belongs to Italy. The grape started like in the 1600s or something, and the flavour depends on when they pick the grape. Obviously, most of their grapes do, but this is very dependent on the grape. The older the grape, you get a lot more sweetness in the wine. When it's early, you get a lot more acid. It's a 2017, and it was a bargain because it was the last bottle in the shop. They had it reduced. So it was I think almost $60 bottle down to about just over $20. So it should be pretty good, I hope.
So if it was grown in Canberra, does that mean you have to keep paying for it long after you've drank it? like a politician? Or?
Well,
There's so many lines I can't say to that.
I made a mistake, but it's not a mistake anymore. I received this beautiful bottle here from Reese in my office, and
Same guy who gave me the horrible bottle of scotch that I couldn't drink a couple of weeks.
that's mainly because he spent everything on this bottle for me. So this bottle here, this company, this house has actually been named the red wine of the year in 2023 holidays book. And the one he's given me is 2004. That would be
Wow.
something like close to $200 or whatever, if you can find it. And I only did a research on it after I opened it, and I should never have opened it because I probably should have waited. But you know what? I thought we might as well enjoy it since I've got now the house that's being called the red wine of the year for next year. All right, so mainly Cabernet Sauvignon and a bit of a blend with Merlot, and so it should be nice.
So what he's telling his people is that on a show with $100 budget, he's drinking a $200 wine.
No, I know. I got a gift.
Gift.
Yeah, it's a gift. So mainly zero.
Cheers.
For the ace of spades, that look at that. That is beautiful.
So you shouldn't have opened it because of what it's worth, Thomas, or?
Yeah, I think it's probably would have been nice with food. And
Oh my God, that is unbelievable.
all right, so what's news?
Oh,
Passing of a legend.
I know.
It's a death. Miss Olivia Newton-John's left us. What
What
an amazing woman. Forget this on-screen stuff that she did. All the off-screen work with so many causes,
Yeah.
especially finding cancer and stem cell research and all that sort of stuff. An
Mm.
amazing woman. Absolutely amazing.
Beautiful human. Yeah. So sad. It's
Did you guys see it? Like almost every TV show, almost all the current affair shows, they all had an homage to her and all that sort of stuff. I thought it was fantastic. And she battled cancer for over 30 years before she finally succumbed.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so sad. And you know, like you often see the celebrities and stuff talking about other celebrities that have passed and stuff, but I think it was, well, maybe the Today Show or something I seen when Richard Wilkins was on there. He was completely shattered, you know, and I knew that he knew her. I think he was actually married into the family or something at some stage, but just pure grief, like, and she just touched so many lives. Just what a beautiful human.
Yep. A very sad day in Australia. Unfortunately, but I suppose we've all got our use-by date, haven't we? So.
Sure do.
Yeah, well, I thought you guys had stolen mine when you said passing of a legend, but I got knocked off my feet earlier because Paul Green, this won't mean much to you guys, but the guy who coached the Queensland Origin team last year and won the comp for the first ever competition for the Cowboys that they won as a coach, and played for Cronulla and Parramatta and the Sydney Roosters and a bunch of other teams, died today. He was 49.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
And, they haven't said yet. And
Wow.
I'm morbidly, but not, I'm really hoping it's natural causes because he's had a tough couple of years. He got sacked by the Cowboys and he's been sacked as a Queensland coach for Wayne Bennett. And he's had a tough couple of years, but every time someone gets sacked, they talk about him being the next coach of the Tigers or the Bulldogs or all the stuff that's going on. And he 49 years old. It's been a wretched 12 months or so for people around 50 dropping dead.
Hasn't it? What? It's
People in the public spotlight. I mean, it happens every day, so let's not pretend that it's not. Yeah. I'm sure there's thousands of other families out there who lost someone in their family today, but always, for whatever reason, when they're in the public sphere, seems to make you sit up and take a bit more notice. So sad day for rugby league, which is obviously my sport. And
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. The other thing, go on, Lou.
No, you go.
I was going to change the subject a bit. Just the other thing I find it a little bit disappointing, maybe I'm a little bit naive when it comes to sort of world politics and so forth, and how people really do manipulate to their own agenda, is this issue with China and Taiwan. And it all started over one certain lady going to visit Taiwan because she's been backing their democratic right against China and all this sort of stuff. Name's Nancy Pelosi. I didn't realise. I'm going, why are they kicking up such a big stink? And I read into it, but then I read further, and apparently she's trying to be the leader of the Democrats, and her polling's low. So what's the first thing apparently the Americans do when they're polling low? Is hate China. So out of her own agenda to get her polling better within America, she's putting people basically almost at the footstep of a war.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if you guys have seen that, but
I seen it. I didn't read too much into it, but yeah, yeah.
for people to use their own agenda like that, and I suppose people do it
She's
in
at
Paul
a-
Blog's life.
She's
Go
had
on,
a
Ken.
fingerprint. She's had a. It's not just China and Taiwan, mate. Over the last couple of years, especially Trump administration and all the stuff going on, Nancy Pelosi's had her fingerprints over most of it, mate. So she's what should be a very polarizing figure. She wouldn't, mate, over here, she'd be lynched already probably. So, well, I used to think that, but we've probably lost our way a little bit on that sort of thing. But yeah,
It should be a bit like the One Nation sort of party.
No, it just appears, and I'm talking about stuff I know nothing about, so I'll stop. But it appears that we have corruption over here, but it appears that the politics over there is so corrupt and so driven by personal agenda that I don't think the country stands a chance, to be honest. I don't think there's a hope in hell, because even when people come in with the best of intentions, a la Barack Obama, the minute they're in there, they get either corrupted or forced into maybe, committing the corruption, but driven by it. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I know nothing about it, so don't come after me, you pricks. But
And our mate Donald had his house raided by the FBI as well, apparently having documents that he shouldn't have left the White House. Oh my God, seriously?
He's trying
Is there anything better to use?
I'm going to get my son on here one day. Jack for 3 hours the other night. He does the perfect Donald Trump impersonation. He could answer all your questions related to that person. Do it if you want.
All right.
Donald Wilson.
You see anything, TL?
Sorry?
You see anything?
No, I think that you guys covered pretty well. I think the death of Olivia Newton-John and Green, it's probably now really a good reminder that we really need to enjoy people while they're alive, not be in sorrow when they're gone. I think if you really do some research and saw that Olivia was actually quite peaceful when she left. She had realized that, hey, it's not a third time. I've done a lot of stuff for a short life. And I think that that's what we need to look at. Are we spending time with our fathers, our mothers while they're around? I mean, people who are important. Are we doing things that are important with people who are around? Or are we going to sit there and go, But because personally, I don't think that she's really going to be bothered whether it's a state funeral or not. Anyway, so it's a little bit sad, but it's a good reminder. If we just spend that kind of time, then we'd be fine.
Yeah, the lessons are most important, and that's probably why, like the Paul Green thing. As I said, he's not as well known, but 49 years old, and the life of a rugby league coach is extremely stressful and extremely pressurised. And the amount of time in that 49 years, especially the last 20, he would have lost with his family. And yeah, regardless of what actually happened, you can guarantee natural or otherwise stress and pressure played a part in his early demise, because he turned grey overnight as a rugby league coach. So then you weigh up, is it all worth it, and what are we actually doing?
We don't know. There's
no, but how do you live your life? As you're talking about celebrating people while they're alive rather than when they're dead. I'm talking about how do we actually live our lives. It's another reminder that we could be dead tomorrow.
100%. And it reminds me with Olivia, like that famous poem where it's the dash, how we spend our dash, the line between our day of birth and the day of our death. And I think she's somebody who spent hers very well, very well. She's made a huge difference in the world. So
I think that's a good lesson. All right, let's get on with this subject, Lou.
This subject. So why do we use, as in a human race, such things as perfectionism and busyness as armour? Because we all are at some point guilty of it, I think.
First of all, I just want to say that you've hijacked the subject for this week. I really didn't pay attention, but afterwards, when I put a little bit of thinking about it, you managed to put another Brené Brown kind of subject. Good on you. You just hijacked it. Well done. So you better be good with the subject, all right?
Well, I'll do my best, but
I was so disappointed. Oh,
why? Why?
got myself in a frame of mind to research and study and do all this stuff, and then I quick Google search, and the first 5 things that came up were Brene Brown. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
But she's not
So-
the only one that she's not the only one that researches this stuff and has come up with this.
No, because what you'll find is that everyone else who researches it just quotes Brene Brown. So to say I was deflated very quickly was
Just read it 3 books. Podcast done. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming.
and Chris had no idea it was Brene Brown. He just guessed, but he was a pretty safe bet.
Odds on.
But do we recognize it though? I think that's the thing. Like, it's not really in. Sorry, Thomas, you go.
No, you were speaking.
I was just saying, like, you can recognize these things, like, and sometimes it's not until the penny drops. And like for a business, for example, there's some people that I realized without even knowing that this is what they were doing. Is, for example, they could never sit in silence. They always had to have something on. They always had to have a distraction or noise or to be doing something. They could never just sit and be. And it was like always for me trying to, why are they like that? Why can't they ever just sit and be? I am quite happy and capable of doing that. But I sort of noticed it. And then once I realized after sort of, reading material and stuff, that it's actually a thing, that, anyway, I'm sure we're going to cover this and then some, but yeah, it's, a lot of people don't realize that that's what people are doing.
Okay, so let's define. Can you just define the word busyness?
Me?
Yeah, are you talking about a constant state of being busy?
Well, I think there can be busyness in, it can be a constant state, or it can just be always having to do something, to be running from something, like you don't, like there's chronic busyness, and then there's just always having to have something in their hand or doing something to avoid being or feeling, and so it doesn't necessarily have to be run off your feet.
Okay. All right. So why did you pick this subject?
Because it's, as you all know, I love Brene Brown. I love her research and I get quite into it. And so I think for me, it was, I'm always reading some kind of material of hers, and it was a book that I started to reread, which I thought, interesting. And then when you apply it, or you start looking around the people around you and workplace or whatever, you start to recognize this armor in people. And so rather than I want to lead people properly, I don't want to pass it off and yeah.
So, but an armor against what?
Still on my quick.
Sorry?
TL, but TL's, my first line was armor for what? So let's answer that. Armor for what?
Yeah. Well, I guess when we talk about perfectionism and busyness, Brene Brown calls it the 20-ton shield, where people, if I work and look and appear perfect, then I won't run the risk of being criticized or blamed or shamed or etc. So, so it's a shield, or that's how she puts it anyway. Which is a good way to look at it for people that don't or may not understand what we're sort of talking about here. It's being chronically busy, is going back to what I was just saying. It's someone who tends to be that is mostly or sometimes running from an emotion that they don't want to. They're running from. They don't want to stop because that'll force them to feel.
So people are doing busyness in order to make sure they don't take the time to think.
That's right, yeah. So it's, they're running from a particular emotion that they don't want to feel. So if they keep running, it won't catch up with them. You know what I mean? Feeling.
Why don't they do alcohol?
Well,
they
do. They do. Like a lot of there's lots of techniques that people numb and use for numbing: alcohol, drugs, even isolation. You know, people can use all forms of.
Do you find that maybe social media is also a form of busyness?
Yeah, I really do. I really do.
Like where people are constantly on that. I mean, I see people and
Yeah.
I sometimes see friends around me. They're sitting next to me in the couch, watching television with me. We're normally watching something that's nice, and all I see is this, you know?
Exactly.
And it's almost like they rather keep their brain busy with that, because the television's not busy enough, because the person's next to them is not there to keep them busy enough. So they rather do this. It's almost like trying to keep their mind away from thinking, but thinking what?
Yeah. Well,
thinking that their lifestyle.
There's more. You two going to do the whole podcast, or?
It's thinking.
If
I
you
know Chris is happy. Chris is happy he's talking so much because he's still writing down stuff as we go.
But even that
writing a novel,
even the pointless scrolling, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That's also an avoidance technique. As long as I'm doing something that occupies my mind, even if it is pointless and of no benefit, it allows me to avoid thinking, feeling anything else.
Distraction from reality.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And even with perfectionism, the same with perfectionism or busyness. When someone wants to do an important thing and they take all their time, put all their thoughts into that, the bits and pieces, and you know what? They're distracting themselves for getting to the stuff that they know they need to be doing, from the stuff that they don't want to fail at. And you said feelings before, Lou, and I think it's for myself, it's feelings of inadequacy, feelings of, again, I've got to go through the same crap. I fall into the loop. There's no question. I know I fall into the loop. And I think it's part of problem with society that we all find it really easy to avoid the tasks that we know we should be doing.
Yeah.
And do the easy tasks. The easy tasks are the tasks that are unimportant.
Yeah, exactly.
And researching this, I brought back a few things that how long would it take?
In the last 5 minutes, here's what I've worked out. Go, Chris.
No, what have I worked out?
No, that's what I'm saying.
No, it's not the last 5 minutes. I'm legit. I've done a lot of bloody research, man. A lot more than you probably think, you and your 200 lines, Renee Brown. Anyway, it brought me back to bits and pieces that we've learned over the years, that tools that we don't use because we're in the habit. We're in the habit of doing the same shit the same way and expecting different results. Where we don't. We need to break that habit, and we need to prioritize our priorities. A to-do list, you've got a to-do list.
Yeah,
so
but it's also, the other thing is sorry, Cam, to cut you off.
That's all right. I'm going to wait. I'll come back next week.
He hasn't done any research anyway, so he's going to rehash your material, Louise. When he did his research and he saw Renee Brown, he said, "No, that's it. Switch it off. Next, switch it off. Next article, switch it off." That's all.
Yeah. So the other
thing sorry, Luke, go on.
I was just going to say, the other thing to remember, or to realize here, is that it's not always to avoid. Like some people use busyness as a badge of honor, and so if I'm always
but I think that's to avoid reality, Lou. I think badge of honor is like their armor to say, don't look at the real me. I want you to look at the false me.
Yeah, but if you hear what I'm about to say, I'm busy, therefore I'm important, therefore I'm worthy, and so. Some people, it's the busier I am, and I'm sure we all know somebody on this podcast, like not on this podcast, but we all know somebody that remains busy because if I'm busy, I'm worthy. And if I stop, what value do I add or have?
But again, Renee, I'm just about to call you Renee Brown there, Renee. Again, Lou, that busyness is creating their armor for the fear of showing their true self.
Yeah, and
they want the perception of being busy to be their badge of honor. They want that perception, which is creating their armor, which in effect is hiding their true self. They want to be accepted for being busy. But people with any sort of brains will understand that busyness is not necessarily a productive person. Yeah. Because busyness doesn't equal productivity, or perfectionism doesn't equal productivity, right?
No.
So at the end of the day, that is a shortcoming for them in the long run.
Yeah,
For any work,
absolutely. Absolutely. But it's like we talk about the human needs and things, and what I'm sort of saying back to the busyness as a badge of honor is if I stay busy enough where my life won't catch up on me, and if I'm busy, therefore I'm important, therefore I'm worthy, and therefore I'm valuable. So they can't stop, because if they stop in their mind, see, because you got to remember, like, these emotions come from a feeling of lack and unworthiness, So that's why, if they stop, suddenly in their mind, they're no longer worthy, they're not lovable, etc.
No longer good enough.
No longer good enough.
All
Yeah.
right.
go,
Can I
Cam,
speak?
go.
Cam,
You sure?
Cam,
Right.
have a
Ready,
say.
set, go.
Come on, Ken.
All right, time up.
The
Sorry,
problem
Thomas,
is,
short-
if I let it go for any longer, I'm going to start feeling inadequate, and I need my badge of honour to appear busy, right? So
Mhm.
I think, just quickly, the Brene Brown stuff and everything you guys have just spoken about is both giving some people too much credit and giving the other half of people not enough credit. Here's what I mean. For many, swap out badge of honour for excuse. And for many, wearing it as armour means it's happening. Right? So where you purposely put on armour, you purposely put on armour to protect you. The word armour would mean protection, right? So perfectionism more so than busyness, because I think busyness more so is going to fall into the excuse category with a lot of people than it is the other. But perfectionism can be a real thing, not just an armour, not just an excuse. But depending on your upbringing, depending on experiences that have happened to you, and depending on your makeup because of all those things, there is such thing as a perfectionist. Now, whether it's a perfectionist to themselves, I think the category I fall into most often is perfectionism that some people in my research have classed as other oriented, which means you put perfectionism onto other people. You expect other people to be perfect, and you expect people to do things that probably you're not capable of doing, or social oriented, where you look at Instagram and you think, shit, they're perfect. It's a real issue for people. Now, they don't know they're doing it a lot of the time. They might not be aware of it. So I think wearing it as an armour means that you're aware of it. And I think we're not giving people enough credit to say that a lot of people have a real issue there and aren't aware of it. And then I think we're giving a lot of people, most of the people that you just went on about, too much credit, because I see perfectionism and busyness used as an excuse every single day. And I think we've all been guilty of doing it, but it's not even a case of and then Thomas started to bring up his NGE, which I had written here, and I've got no right to speak about it because I'm not the bloke who wrote the book about it. But people will use perfectionism and busyness to cover up their NGE, and that's sort of down the path you guys are going. But I'm saying, look, people get busy. I've seen people who want a job in real estate and want a wage in real estate, so they get busy all day, but they never get productive, right? They always find something to do other than prospect. Okay.
I know we hear what you're saying, but I think that we've been trying not to dig deeper and find out why is it that people do this. So for me, I think perfectionism has a goal. It has a goal. People want to, they're telling the world that they want to do it perfectly. For me, that is more a badge of honor that people are aiming for, where busyness is an excuse. So busyness use time as an excuse to hide, but they both hide the same thing. This is the funny thing. Both of them, to me, hide the same thing. It's the fear of being seen, maybe either not doing something, not accomplishing anything. I think our society is about, you must achieve things, you must accomplish things. And are we in this society trying too hard now to turn people into robots, to turn people into a machine that has to have some kind of achievement at the end of the day? Otherwise, it can't explain its existence.
That's a social orientated perfectionism, right? That's put onto us by other people, but not even put onto us by other people, our perception of other people. You know, we tell our kids, or we talk on here about, don't believe everything you see on social media. Well, the reason we say that is because you start comparing to people. Comparison is one of the key things that'll lead to perfectionism. Right? Now, we've said on here, Jack Canfield uses and Chris has used it on here before, but I spoke about it in Singapore, the ready, fire, aim. Right now, in a lot of circumstances out in life, ready, fire, aim's a really bad idea, but as a way of overcoming perfectionism and busyness, ready, fire, aim's perfect. You don't spend 10 years waiting to set up a business. You just start the business and work the rest out as you go along. So yes, they're covering the same thing, but let's not shy away from the fact that people are using it for the wrong reasons, not always.
I don't totally agree with what you said before, Cam, about everyone's using it as armour and they know they're using it armour. I think there's a level of self-awareness that is involved with being able to understand if you are using it or not using it. I think people legitimately think being busy is a good thing and they're not productive. I think there are some people out there that don't have the self-awareness that you're talking about to be using it, on purpose as a piece of armour. There are people that understand what they're doing. There are people that understand what they're doing and are using it as an armour, but no, they should be doing better. And there's others that don't. So I disagree with that. But I do agree with the fact that I think we've got to go towards, like you just said, how are we going to help people to move beyond it? Because I know I fall in the trap of using it as a distraction or as armour or whatever, one of a better word. I fall in the trap.
As an excuse.
As an excuse. Thank you. As an excuse.
Call it for what it is. Because armour and bad
excuse
stuff, that's all honourable, right? Right. So you call it for what it is, which is an excuse. And all of a sudden you might be actioned into it. If we sit here and go, oh, people are using it as armour, they're just doing it to protect themselves. Most bullshit. It's an excuse.
Yep.
Busyness especially, right? So let's not shroud it in glory, this thing.
And I probably agree with Cam, Chris. It's not because you're not aware of that there is no engine underneath that. That engine may be running you unconsciously. Yeah. So you may be using it in an unconscious manner because everyone wants to be achieving a goal every single day. If people go to work or they want to make sales or they want to get a listing, but somehow there is something that's running in the background. So I believe that it is used as an armor. But now let's move on to the next question here. Do men use it more as an armor or women?
That's a loaded question.
From what I've seen, no, it's not a loaded question. From what I've seen, I don't think anyone's worse than the other. I've seen some men do it beautifully, and I've seen some women do it beautifully. I would say potentially women are more prone to anxiety in comparison and feeling the need to be perfect, more so because of societal pressures than men. But at the same time, there's just as many arguments to say men have got more pressure on them than not. So perfect example, how many people take a job or apply for a job just so they can go home to their wife or significant other and say, I'm trying to get a job, right? They've got no intention of doing it. They're busy about trying to get one. But that's the social pressure of needing. That's the social pressure of needing to provide or needing to, needing to provide is needing to be employed. So I don't know if there's I think it's fairly well split.
I think everyone uses it in their own way, and whether it's a stay-at-home parent or at work or in a social setting, whatever it may be. I think everyone uses it in their own way. Whether it's a parent at home and they're busy with the kids and parent-teacher meetings and this and that and so forth, and then the same thing at work. I think it's the same.
No. If you had to do the homework with the kids, that's not being busy. That you're doing something
productive.
if you have to go to a school meeting and parent teachers, it's not. I mean, I find, for example, in the morning, as a man, I wake up and look after myself. My wife wakes up and looks after the whole house. So I don't know whether I can really say it's 50-50. I know.
That's not busyness. Looking after the house isn't business. You said who's using it.
But that's why I say so. But as a man, you can't sit there and do nothing. So you pretend to go around and make a cup of coffee, and even you don't want a second one, you pretend to go for a second one because you need a second one. I mean,
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe that is a state of business.
But here's the thing with perfectionism, right? Oh, we're going to have friends over. Oh, they can't come over at the moment. I'll have them vacuumed, right? Or I haven't cleaned the house. That's it. But that's a shoot me, Oprah, but that's a female, more so you're hearing that from females, right? Yes?
But you've got,
There's a perfectionism brought about by social norms that if people come over and my house isn't clean, all of a sudden there's a judgment made about how I live.
Remember,
Not the fact that I've got 3 kids and they're trashing the joint and they don't give a shit because they know it can't have anything nice. So,
yes, but the whole point of, or the root of this is most perfectionists aren't driven by perfection. They're driven by fear and shame and blame and judgment and everything else. So they're not being a perfectionist to keep the house tidy as such. It's more about what will they think of me if the house is not tidy, and then it's the shame and all of the other things that set in.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's the same with busyness. Busyness, if you look at busyness as opposed to somebody running around.
So you're saying that most women, when they make the sandwiches in the morning, they're not really wanting to do that, but they're scared of what their children is going to think about what they're going to have in their box.
Well, perfectionism, like from what I understand, is something that we can pass down. So think about this. There's parents that if their children don't represent perfectly, then it reflects on them. And so it's not about wanting the best for their children, it's about the image that they portray by having their children look the best. And so
that's not perfectionism. That is about shifting your needs onto somebody else.
Yeah, but it still comes back to what perfectionism, we struggle with perfectionism in our lives where we most feel vulnerable to shame. And so if you feel like...
That's not using it as an armor, that's a condition. That's what I was saying before. We're not putting on protection. We have been bashed into needing to be perfect in whatever.
Well, the other thing is too, don't forget, as a culture, when it comes to perfectionism, we've bought into the idea that perfectionism is a positive thing. We've also bought into the idea that busyness as a culture is a good thing as well. So
disagree completely.
Pardon?
Disagree completely.
Well, I mean, that's fine.
But bought into who runs around saying perfectionism is a good thing, and who runs around saying being busy is good, because everything we're taught or tried to teach is productive, right?
But perfectionism is a big umbrella term, Cam, and I think a lot of people can confuse perfectionism with healthy striving as well. There's a difference of actually wanting to go.
That was the second article I googled that quoted Brene Brown.
Achieve
healthy striving.
Yeah, but what are we going to sit here and go around in circles? Or
no, we're not going around in circles. We're not going around in circles. I think that we need to move on. So what we now believe that men and women are equal, right? People doing this. I believe that men are more prone to busyness and perfectionism, because I think men want to show off. If you show it off, you're more likely to attract females. And it's the animal world. So you have to strive for more. And then because it is so hard and so competitive these days for people to reach that level of perfectionism, they get into busyness, where I believe that women are truly the working ants out there. I don't want to say that it's 50-50. But now let's have a look at the results. What's the remedy? How do people fix it? How do people avoid these two things?
I think the first thing I could probably suggest is at work, even at home, have a to-do list. So prioritize your tasks for the day. So you work out your important tasks and your unimportant tasks, and then number those. So for myself, I'll put all my tasks on a sheet, and then I'll 1 to 10, and all the ones. Then I go through A, B, C, D for all the ones. So the most important get done first. So that's the first thing I'd say, a to-do list, and then prioritize your to-do list.
Okay. What about you, Luke?
Well, I think the root of perfectionism is basically believing your self-worth is based on your achievements. And I think a lot of people are too hard on themselves. I've been there and done it. And look, it opens a whole nother can of worms, but it goes into other avenues of imposter syndrome and all of that stuff, where you feel like you're not good enough no matter what you do and no matter what you achieve. You don't feel good enough and worthy enough, and it can stem from upbringing or having a bad feedback. Or
but you're still talking about the symptoms. I'm talking about, all right, what's the solution?
Yeah, well, that's where I'm going. What I'm saying is owning your story and being proud of who you are. If that's not the bravest thing you'll ever do in life, then
all right.
You know what I mean? So what I'm saying as a remedy is be proud of yourself and pat yourself on the back and don't feel bad. I mean, I don't know why people feel bad or find it hard to actually celebrate themselves. It's,
All right. So what if I tell you that for some of us, it is hard to sit down and rest on those laurels, that once whatever we have achieved is the past, and there is a little voice in our head that says, move on, keep moving. Where's your next one? So, and it's nice to say, you just have to sit down and be proud of, but what if you don't have that kind of a voice that allows you to say, I'm proud of this? Well,
look, I mean, you gotta find it, and if you can't find it in yourself, you gotta hang around the right people that can help you find it, I suppose, and learn to, I guess, yeah.
So association for you.
Association, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Ken?
For busyness, have an honesty session with yourself, lock yourself in a room and be actually honest with yourself and work out whether you're busy or you're productive. And if you're someone who wants to be productive but has an honesty session with themselves, who's worked out they're busy, then you'll know the next step. And if you're someone who's happy pretending to be busy because you think it's fooling everyone, you can get through life. If you're happy with the cards you have, don't need to change anything. So
yeah, but Cam, this is the same thing here. We're talking about solutions, so we have to give people solutions. But let's imagine this guy, he's happy being busy.
Yeah.
So when you're gonna ask him, why is it that you do this at that time of the day when that should be done when you can't talk to clients? And he goes, because it's important. I have to get that done now because that's gonna come up later on. So people can justify the busyness.
Yeah, but that's not how you remedy it yourself, because if that happens to me as the leader and someone tries to sell me that excuse, I just say no. So, put that down to association or whatever you want. But if someone tries to tell me this has to be printed right now, otherwise the world's going to come to an end, it's on me to say, well, no, the world isn't going to come to an end. Now, as for perfectionism, I think that's a lot harder thing to fix than busyness, because it goes off in so many different directions. So maybe association, but I find that if you're driven rightly or wrongly for perfection through other people, and you've got a lot of MGE, TL, you know this, it doesn't matter how many times people tell you you're doing a good job, right? You don't believe them and you don't accept it. So I think gratitude's a big thing. I think that not looking back in the past so much what Lou said, but being grateful for what you actually have today, and trying to find ways of not being governed by what the outside world is telling you. You've got to be driven. So I don't know.
Okay, for me, I think people should have a goal, and then they should set a plan towards the goal.
The goal for you, not goal for others.
And then once they have their own goal and their own plan, they really have to have a look at the end of the day, sit down and write down what they've done for every single hour of the day and see whether it's corresponding to the plan. I think that will actually bring them to the awareness, whether they are productive or busy. I think that the first thing that people need to do is to bring a self-awareness of what they're doing. Because as they keep on doing this is why I keep on saying to people, you know, I see many new leaders who have got what they call a honeymoon period. And they claim, I'm going to go out and work hard. And I know already, no, you're going to have a honeymoon period. That's how it works. Only poor people have got no honeymoon. Rich people have got honeymoon, and the richer they are, the longer the honeymoon. You never ever notice that? Like when I got married with my wife, and I told one of our guys who just got married, mate, your video would have paid for my wedding twice. and so my honeymoon was Saturday night where we stayed, and then Monday back to work. So I think that the biggest thing that people need to have is that awareness. First, am I busy driving for perfection? Am I being productive? And only looking at the truth, which is what was my plan when I sat down and strategized towards my goal, and how am I wasting each hour of the day?
Yeah, that's the honesty session I was talking about. But
but at least
it's only going to work. Yeah, you did a beautiful job of breaking it down. It's only going to work.
Sorry, Cam, I took your idea.
No, you didn't. That's what I'm saying. That only works if you actually want change.
But we try to give people the tools, man. That's what I'm saying.
But a tool also can be, listen, there's a lot of people out there who are acting on other people's wishes and acting on other people's pressures and all that sort of thing. If you lock yourself in the room, like I said, and have that honesty session with yourself and just say, look, I don't want to be there, I don't want to do it, or here's what I want in life, that's okay too, right? You know, that's
absolutely.
It's okay to be a loser. It's okay to sit there, and not everyone can win in life. That's why there's a top 1%. If you sit there and go, oh shit, well, I'm going to stop telling people I'm going to go to work because deep down I'm really happy just being mediocre, then so be it. Because all the other, for every word that comes out of your mouth that says I'm going to go to work and this is my goal that I don't really believe in and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that you don't do, is actually killing you faster than just saying, man, I'm okay being average. That's okay. And I think we got to let a lot of people off the hook with that. You know, for people who actually want change and don't want to be mediocre, then there's steps that you have to take. But let's first only work with those people.
All right. What's a second round? Who's got a second piece of advice? Now, we've done association, we've done plan, we've done goals. What was yours there? A to-do list for
prioritize. Yeah. Unimportant tasks done well doesn't make them important. So when you're sitting down in the day and you find yourself doing tasks that you know are unimportant, trying to do them well and talking back to perfectionism doesn't make them any more important. So understand the importance of the tasks that you're doing. And I think that's what you mentioned too before about the end of the day, Thomas. And there's that, what do they call it? The decision matrix. The decision matrix, urgent, unimportant, you know, I think it's a Brian Tracy.
Is that a Brene Brown? Well, you don't bring other people onto this podcast. We're a Brene Brown podcast. God damn you.
Brian Tracy, her dad. I think he invented it. And it's just about being productive. The other thing I was going to say is stop multitasking.
You only get one.
Well, it is one. It was an add to Thomas's. So this is the second one. Was stop multitasking. It's proven that multitasking actually reduces your ability to do things by 25%. And every time you stop doing a task, it takes you about 10 to 15 minutes to get back into the flow of where you were. So it really delays your productivity for the day. So taking on too many tasks.
So you mean you can't watch Facebook on one screen, Netflix another one, and do your work?
Yeah, that's not a good idea. Yeah.
I've been told my whole life. Talk about.
You're gonna watch Netflix. Just watch Netflix. Forget work and forget face. Just watch Netflix. But yeah, absolutely.
I've grown up hearing that women are the kings of multitasking and men can't do it. That's all I've heard my whole life. So I don't know.
My wife can give me the shits when she's not even in the room. I mean, how good is that for multitasking?
I put podcast.
I love it.
I put my AirPods in every night to go to sleep listening to a podcast because I'm convinced I can sleep and absorb knowledge at the same time. When I wake up every morning, I'm just as dumb as I was the day before. So I don't know.
You can't educate a rock, mate.
First, you must put batteries in your AirPods.
Got to stop listening to.
All right, Louise. I know you're dying.
I think the other thing too is we've got to forget about thinking and caring about what other people think. Because, and it seems like we're on a Brene tangent here. One of the things she says is we can never do anything brave wearing the straitjacket of what will other people think. And I think a lot of what we do, busyness, perfectionism, is all, not well, I can't say all, but a lot of the time driven by our thoughts of what other people think. So here's my advice. Who gives a F what other people think? Who gives? We can spend a lot of time. I know.
I'm going to disagree with how we're giving the answer, because you say this, but how do I do this when all my life I do give an F about what other people think? Tell me how I don't, because it's okay to have this, but how do I mean, when I say, for example, write down your time and write down, look at your planning, it's something they can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But tell me, as a person whose parents have told him all his life, you make sure whatever you do, the family name is never soiled.
Yeah. So you grew up with high parental expectations, highly critical parents, etc., etc., and so you carried that, and that is, and I'm not saying that you're perfectionist or anything.
Tell me how to stop it.
People that carry that brings out the perfectionism in them, and it's because what will people think if I'm not?
Tell him how to stop it.
If you let me finish, Cam, I will.
I
can't. I'm not a guy that can give 3-word answers.
Got the answer. He asked you to come up with an answer, not the problem. Come up with the answer.
Well, I'm trying to come up with the answer, but I can't give 3 words and make sense to anybody. I might make sense to you, but I might not make sense to anyone else. So I'm trying to give the answer by explaining it. So how do we do it, Thomas? It's probably the hardest thing in the world for us to do, is to not care about what other people think. But you've just got to own your story and be proud of who you are and where you are in life. You've got to own it, whether you're riding a high or in a slum. And what I mean by that is in a bad place. You've got to own it, and you've got to be aware of it, and you've got to make a decision to move forward from that or keep growing from that. It's a hard question, and I don't have the answer.
But this is where I have a problem, Lou. Is that there's a lot of people who come up on a lot of stuff and write books and say things like this, but they don't tell you how we get out of it. They say, well, don't focus on others. How do you not focus on others when you've been brought up to focus? That give me some real thing, Don't tell me a law. I mean, yeah, don't jump off the building because gravity is gonna pull you down. You're gonna die. I mean, just get it, But maybe you should stop me, because if I'm depressed, I'm gonna jump. And how do we not do that? I hear your point. I get that. It's, to me, we're making observations. Can we please come up with something that says that someone can write down and go, all right, from here on, I'm going to do this, and it's going to help me with my business.
So all right. So here's my brief answer. Don't compare yourself to anybody other than who you were yesterday. I think that can help. That can help, because we do spend a lot of time comparing ourselves, and that leads on to worrying about what other people are going to think of us. That's something, what do you got, Chris? I don't know. That's
so another one I've got is people delay the hardest tasks till the end of the day, and then they work their asses off trying to avoid doing those hard tasks all day. So and then their head is screwed up all day because of that hard task, where it might be just getting rid of someone or telling an owner or sales falling over or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And I think it was Brian Tracy again. I say Brian Tracy. He wrote a book called Eat the Frog First, right? Which is you do the hard tasks straight away, first thing in the morning, before lunch. It's out of the way. Then you can focus the rest of the day, which comes to my second word. And I'm sorry I'm giving 2, but which is focus. and block out your time. Focus on the subject that you're doing and make sure it falls in line with your to-do list. And the funny thing is, I look back on last week's task was about drowning in knowledge but starving for wisdom. I'm a shocker at doing some of this. Avoided doing the tasks that I know, but I know what I should be doing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people out there do know what they should be doing. And it's having an honest talk with yourself. I think Cam brought it up before. Really start yourself around and say, shut, you stupid idiot. Get to the thing that you need to be doing because you know it needs. And at the end of the day, you feel better once you've done it. It actually improves your self-worth. It improves your self-esteem by doing those chores that you know you should be doing. At the end of the day, if you don't do them, you feel shit because you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's now a bit tricky question, Chris, because you and I, we do know of someone who should be doing all of that, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
So what will be your advice to him?
Do what I said to do.
I don't think calling yourself. I'm only
Focus on
I'm
the
only
end goal.
coming to grips with this now, but I think if you start off the process, Chriso, with call yourself a stupid idiot and say to get going. I'm only just coming to grips with this now. That's you're not going to anything after calling yourself a stupid idiot is going to be irrelevant because you're going to.
I do that to exaggerate the simple, right? And I
but it's not an exaggeration, mate, because that's what people do to themselves, right? My second thing is, and I only learned this very recently from some bloke. It's all right having a to-do list, Chriso, but my to-do list, so I just rejig my to-do list. So now in the mornings there's about 14 things that go off at certain times that I have to do, right? But they're fairly generic. Call this person, call that person, check this.
Yeah.
I only heard that.
8:30 Zoom meeting, things like that.
Yeah, no, that's
you've got systems in place.
No, yes, I have systems in place, but that's okay. But call this person means nothing. Someone threw up the word purpose to me the other day, and it's had me thinking for 4 or 5 days. It's all right having a thing to do, but what is the purpose of what you're doing? How do we move from busy to productive?
I like that.
Actually know why you're doing what you're doing and then strive to achieve that thing. It's not enough to have a to-do list that says call this person or check that. Check that with the aim of what? And be aware of that while you're checking that thing or having that conversation, because otherwise those conversations can go very pear-shaped very quickly. They can't achieve the desired effect. You can do damage and all that sort of thing. So purpose in what you're doing, not just action, purposeful action is I think the next step after setting a to-do list. Okay.
Here's then another one of mine. I think you need to mentor someone. If you start doing some mentorship of someone, do you realize quite often you feel like a liar when you're telling someone to do something, but you don't do it yourself?
How many people do it though, Tio? I disagree.
But if you mentor someone, which means now you and I, we're going to have meetings regularly and talk about certain things and do certain things. You suddenly go back home and go, hold on, I'm not doing this. I better get on to doing this.
I feel like too many people do
I
that.
think we do it. I think we do it every month in our leadership pairing, to be honest. Like there's things like even Chris and I paired this month again, and I know, and I've said it to nearly every leader that I've ever paired with. I just gave you some really good advice. Why in the hell did I do that myself?
Was that with me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to say that. I'm sorry. That just.
Yeah. No, but it's.
It was good advice.
But you see, but if you did that with me, I'd say to you then, can you just tell me the stuff that you're doing and cut the other crap? So I will tell you very honestly not to tell me the stuff you're not doing. Now, it will insult your ego, which is probably a good lesson because some of us need that ego bashing. Then perfectionism and busyness disappear slowly. But if I think talking about this now, I'm not saying anything new to counter your point, because I think you brought up association. You have the right association. The association will tell you, stop telling me the stuff you don't do. Just like I've told people who read books but don't do it, I told them, don't tell me about books you don't do. Just tell me the bits you do in the book. And if you have association that is that honest and brutal, then you have two choices. Either do you avoid that association or you're not going to do something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I find I've done a lot of mentorship in my life. I have taken, some 20 years ago already, 30 years ago, I started with people. And for me, it was very simple. Don't tell them what you don't do. Because if they catch you, if they catch you out, then now you're a liar. And my leader, when I was 22, told me, you can hide from a thief, but there's nothing you can do with a liar. Therefore, never lie to people. What you tell people you're going to do, you do it. What you ask people to do, make sure you double do it.
Yeah.
So mentorship for me is so important. And if you take also someone who embrace you as a mentor, they're going to be tough too, because they're going to say, oh, you show me. I mean, I am convinced that one of these days someone's going to say to me, can you show me your diary where you say that you're writing lessons every single day? And I'm thinking, I can't show them, and it's got stuff missing. Not only I'm going to have to show them, but I'm going to make sure when I show them, I tell them, you never question me again. so
you can't, hey, listen, you can't encase it in a threat, mate. You can't take somebody, because
don't ask me again, because I go, you're the protege. You're not mentoring me. but you have to be ready.
Yeah.
I think the key is in the word mentor and the meaning of the word mentor to what you're saying to you, because all the arguments around it mean that you're not.
No, I'm giving the solution.
Yeah, you are.
And I would say to you this, Chris, if you were to decide today, I'm going to mentor my son into doing certain things, you will see that a lot of the things that you're going to be doing are going to change.
Yeah.
Yep. Good advice. Very good.
Alex had run rings around you, mate. You bought this sliced ham the other day from the deli. It was the best packaged spam that I've ever had in my life. It was beautiful.
I know Robert, he'll just work in pairs, work with someone else. If I was to do a leadership pairing, I'd be one of the worst guys you'd ever do leadership pairing with, because I would cut you out. When you will say something to me, I say, all right, show me. Prove it to me you're doing it. Can I ask someone that you're doing it?
I've got a good one this month. My leadership pairing this month is a good one, and we're doing action stuff every single day, and we won't let each other down. So there's accountability with it. Sometimes, I mean, we talk a lot about not pairing with someone, or you can't get mentored by someone who's on the same level as you, but sometimes someone who is where you're at life, if their intentions are in the right place and you are both heading in the right direction, can be the best thing for you. Because sometimes when you got two people looking to get out of a hole, you build a better ladder. There you go. Oh, geez, that was good. Write that down. And that's what I found this month, to be honest, with my pairing. I found someone paired with me who was unbeknownst to them in a very similar situation to what I was in, and together we're building that ladder, and it's been brilliant for both of us. But that's different mentorship, right? I think for a real mentor to you have to have, one, already done it, and two, be willing to still do it, to be able to you can't mentor someone in finance if you have no money in the bank, is what I'm getting at. A mentor.
Yeah. And you'll be a stupid protege going to a guy who's broke for advice in finance.
But you won't know, right? Because of all the shit we talked about before about armour and masks and people pretending. There's how many financial advisors or how many self-help gurus are on the Instagram, on the Facebook, mate, who have no. There's one in particular that's completely done my head in, and he got my $600 for a couple of years because I was starving for knowledge, and in what I was trying to do in real estate, he gave me the one-liners, he gave me the stuff I needed to lift my skill level a little bit, right? But this same bloke tries to teach people about personal growth and values and all this stuff, and then the next minute there's a Facebook post saying, "To all my haters, keep going. I hate you too." What the but this is people's mental. This is a guy who people are paying $600 a year or whatever to be my guru, right? And just keep going. I hate you as well. And to everyone who doesn't like what I do, F you. And this is every second post. And next to, you've got to read books and you've got to grow. And the more you grow, it astounds me. And that we get bluffed, right? Just like vendors get bluffed by, high price, low fee. We get bluffed as humans by false demigods, right? We get bluffed by people who didn't. And the books will tell you, if you want financial advice from someone, ask to see their bank account. If you want parental advice from someone, check that they've got kids first, maybe, and they're not in jail. Right?
Yeah, because the ones who've got no kids, they've got a master degree in how
They're experts.
There's mentors. There's
You can have
mentors.
mine.
Hey, there's mentors on Facebook that'll charge you $5,000 a month that have never sold a house in real estate. But when a real mentor has got their ducks in a row, you're not getting charged nothing, mate. Because the most successful people in life and the most abundant people in life give away their knowledge and their wisdom for free. So that's one sign.
I love a thing I saw. A lady was selling a book on how to buy your first home, and with the proceeds from the book, she bought her first home.
She's smart. She's smart.
I thought that was fantastic. Everyone got comment. But anyway.
Here's another piece of advice for those who are into perfectionism or business: work in time slots. For example, when I go to work in the morning, the first thing I do is I write down the 3 or 4 things that I have to do. And so I go, for example, work on for example, leadership manual. I don't actually say work on a leadership manual. I go, now between this time and that time, that's leadership manual. By that time, it has to stop. And what happens is, because you put a stop time, you're thinking, hold on, I can't get to 11 o'clock and not achieve that. And you're suddenly like racing but when it's 11 o'clock, I turn it off and I'm on to the next bit. This is why, for example, I don't take calls. For example, sometimes the phone's ringing next to me, but no, I'm with this, or I'm in this meeting. I can't take it. I can't just, and I think that those kind of, we call it block times, but I work in real time slots. So there's some people, they're not like that. They start working, I call them the poet, the artist. They start a subject and then they get in and as long as that's done, they're happy. So, I'll have a coffee and, oh yeah, you need me now with this. So I'll go. And by the time, those people usually, this is what they do. Oh, it's 5 o'clock already. I have not seen the time flies. And those to me are what I call the busyness people. They have not done anything else but sit in front of the computer. Yes, they have not gone onto Facebook or social media, but sometimes they don't have that kind of clock. This is what I love about the
company. You go home and go, I did 12 hours today, darling. Geez, I'm working hard. Don't you dare talk to me like that. I work hard to provide for this family. That's those people. That's the excuse people. I've got a time slot booked out, says 9 to 12, no jokes to tell you. You cannot joke with this man before midday. Awesome. And when I go, don't joke, don't say anything funny, don't try to be funny, and then I pick up the phone and go, yeah, and I go, shit, I've done it before midday.
I'm going to challenge that, Cam.
12:01 and go, brother, guess what? Guess what, Judge? 12:01.
I think the thing is that you're just not funny before 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, I got some crackers. My busyness.
Sorry, man.
I disagree with you, mate. This guy's pissed all the time. He's funny 24/7.
My busyness is just coming up with shit to say at inappropriate times. And the most inappropriate time to TL is at 9 o'clock in the morning when he's got his game face on and I go, oh, look at your hair. And then it falls on deaf ears, right? It's gone. So that's my block time.
Cam is not the only one. My father-in-law is the same thing. I mean, when I run the real estate agency with my father-in-law, is the same thing. He kept on saying, Thomas doesn't smile. Yeah, but I can't smile in the morning. I've got that list I have to finish. Until that list is done, I must be focused. And that allows me to do the bit I need to be doing rather than being lost into busyness, because there's nothing worse than going home. You know, this is what you find with busyness. Even the people who do busyness, at the end of the night, they sit and feel guilty with themselves. They actually have pain with themselves because they have that mea culpa and they whip themselves. And I'm thinking that you don't need to go through that. That's actually going to kill time out of your life. That's going to remove a day or two of your life every single time you do it. So you might as well just whip it. You know, I learned a long time ago, success has got two prices. You either pay it before success or you pay it after. But either way, you're going to have to pay. Decide.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What about your next one, Lou?
Luke, go for it.
Well, my next one's a sort of little bit left of field. I read a beautiful quote this morning from a person by the name of Manoush Shafiq. And it said, in the past, jobs were about muscle. Now they are about brain. And in the future, they'll be all about heart. And I really loved that because I think it's very true. Like when we, like especially leaders, looking to the future, in order to lead and be a great leader and to lead people fully, I think it has to be a lot of hard work, not what it used to be. And so, but in order to lead, you first must lead yourself. And so understand yourself and know yourself. And yeah, I think, what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say is be the best version of you before you try to lead other people as well.
Who is Fashuk or Shafuk?
Manoush Shafiq. So
Kitchen Rule starts.
no.
Who is he?
No, I actually think it's a lady, and it's a university lecturer in Colorado or something. So
really,
in
I think the next one is going to be computers. I mean, but you know, maybe.
Like the job, you mean? Like, yeah. No, but I just
psychedelics legal in Colorado. It's funny that because it messes with your brain, not your heart.
What's that? What does?
I think the way the quote was read, the way you explained the quote was different, but the way the quote was read about forget brain and forget this, mate. We explained last week that you need knowledge to have any sort
No, but what it's saying in the past, like if you think back, like
I love you, man, can only go so far.
You think back, like I think back to like my dad's work. My dad's like 60 something. My dad's
I agree with you. I agree with your
explanation. All about the muscle. Then it was all about the brain, but in the future, it's all about the heart.
Yeah, you're talking about EQ.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I think obviously that was something that was said ages ago, but with the likes of COVID and the pandemic and all these other things that people have gone through, it's been a massive awakening, and it's the Me Too, and it's the, you know, all of these things. Like people are finally enlightening, I hope. Okay.
Anybody else got another piece of advice about what people can do in order to avoid that using perfectionism?
Maybe not perfectionism, but busyness. Learn to say no. Learn to say no to many different things. To time thieves, to people asking you to do things for them when you're in the middle of a task, and so forth. So just learn to be able to and be comfortable with saying no. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people have that FOMO, you know, the fear of missing out by saying no to things. Say no to lunch, say no to a coffee, just say no. You get more done.
Say no to you. What if you've got to say no to your wife who says, can you get the kids today, or can you go to this sporting event, or can you?
It has to happen, man.
I probably go further on your learn to say no. Have a target of no's to distribute every single day. right? So every day have 5 no's that you're going to be distributing up. That's it. You have, because then you have to. You can't go home unless you have those 5 no's out.
Yep.
When you say to people, learn to say no, they're gonna go, oh well, I won't do it today, start tomorrow. That's a problem with people. So the next level of perfectionism in business is really procrastination. Yeah. So just do it now. Have that target.
Thomas cheats. He calls me 6 times a day and says no to every one of my suggestions, and then he goes home going, "I've got my quota, I've got my quota."
My quota. 9 o'clock.
I call you to say I love you, mate.
Oh, that's
Because I know.
Mine is very
Something else
simple,
does.
and it's going to reduce the argument to simple words. But the amount of people who call me, believe it or not, people call me and go, "Cam, I need help," and the amount of times it ends in just shut up and go to work. Unfortunately, life, while very complicated, is very simple. Action trumps everything. Just shut up and go to work. All the maybe I need this, and maybe I need that, and maybe I need this. Whether it's working on a relationship, working on your mindset, or working at work, shut up and go to work. At the end of the day, I had a guy ring me the other day from another company who was a friend of mine who I told to get into real estate for a lot of years and refused, and now he's in real estate. He rings me and says, "Oh, Cam, just calling to say that now I respect what real estate agents do." So one, he's saying, "I've respected nothing you've done for the last 6 years." I cut him off. I said, "Mate, stop." He goes, "What? I'm a man, I can admit." I said, "Shut up and go to work." I said, "Yeah, you're ringing me for a cuddle or some way of getting out of actually doing what you got to do. Just shut up."
Let's try and finish this on this next question. How do people know that they are doing perfectionism or business as armour? Because the 4 of us here, we're probably going to sit down and say, "No, I don't." Yes. So a lot of people are going to say, "No, I don't." So how would they know they're doing it?
Read Brene Brown's book. She'll explain everything to you.
No.
I didn't realise till today, actually, reading a different article that wasn't related to Brene. Oh, geez, I had to search far, though. I went to the 57th page on Google to find someone who hadn't quoted Brene Brown.
He's jealous, Louise. He's jealous.
No, but I had to find one of the aspects of perfectionism is you putting it onto other people. And I'm, mate, guilty as charged. I expect people... I look at people and on one hand I go, they're exactly the same as I was when I was 19. But then I go, you should be better. Like that's
so highly critical. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have an answer for you, Till. I don't know how you become aware to it.
Well, then listen, it's coming up. What about you, Lou?
So
yeah, it's coming up now.
No, not necessarily. But can you tell me the question again, Thomas, so I fully understand?
Yeah, so people who are listening and the closet people who are going to listen to this afterwards, how do they know that they're doing perfectionism? Because I ask the 4 of us whether we're doing that, we're probably going to say no.
I am.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, for perfectionism,
Sorry, I just heard something funny outside.
Did you see that stare? Chris, I saw that stare. If she had a gun, she would have been dead.
Remember what I said before the podcast, look.
You scared the shit out of me.
What?
Jeez, I don't know why you feel attacked.
Anyway.
Come on.
Okay. I guess the thing is if you're doing something and you feel like you're doing it because you're worried about what other people are going to think, or you're doing it because you feel like you're going to be judged, or you're feeling like it brings up some emotion in you, you're probably doing perfectionism. And I've been thinking about it this whole podcast, Thomas, and it was at one of our leadership seminars, and I'm 1,000,000% sure that she won't mind me saying, but there's a lady that works with Stephen, and She does perfectionism really, really well. Probably the best I've ever seen.
Right.
She's also had the most, like, the hardest life. Like, it makes me cry thinking about it, actually.
Shut up, Cam.
But
You take your time. If you want to, I can get rid of Cam.
no,
No.
no.
I'm thinking about me with
Cam, shut up, I said.
But I see why she did it now.
Why?
And
Why
she
do you
did
think she's
it.
doing it?
Because she carried so much like shame and guilt, and so in her life everything had to be perfect, because if it wasn't, all the all of the past would catch up with her, you know, and be
You're
her
doing well.
fault.
You're
Her
doing well.
fault. So yeah, if it doesn't need to be, I don't know. Anyway, go to someone else now.
You're doing well, Lou. No, that's
Sorry.
why we
Sorry.
respect. If we kept on going to somebody else, then we would not have allowed you to just be as vulnerable as you are. And the vulnerability that you're showing, that's a beautiful thing that we need to show. I think that if you want to avoid perfectionism and busyness, you just gave the perfect answer. We have to be able to show people our true emotions.
Yeah,
Yeah, the way we are, not just pretend. So I
yeah.
think that as usual, you got the best answer for the podcast, so that was fantastic. And I can see it. Cam's getting jealous now. He's going, I can't do that. No, Cam, you can't get tears out of stones.
No, I'm just going
it's-
back to the bloke who said your mentor's got to be honest, and you just said as usual she gave the best answer. So I'm calling it full of shit.
Oh,
as usual. What about you, Chris?
Well, at the end of the day, I think when you put your head down in the pillow, you know if you've done the right thing for the day. And whether it's, you know, and I heard it put in a really simple term. At home, we have all these little tasks that we know need to be done, but we get ourselves busy with the stuff that we do, we want to do, because not the stuff we have to do. But once you finish those small tasks, you get these little boosts to your self-esteem. And at the end of the day, you feel better for getting those things done. And I think it's your own inner workings telling you that today was a good day. Today you achieved something. And I think if you listen to your own inner voice, truly listen to your own inner voice, and at the end of the day, you're not so happy with what you've done, you know you haven't done the right thing. But if you can truly sit there and go, you know what, today was a good day, I achieved what I want to set out, but I could have done more. Okay, you work your head, you're heading to the right place. So I think that's probably one of the biggest points, is just listen to your own.
Nice.
Talk.
I love it.
Love it. Well done, man. Cam, have you found something to share or no? Okay.
Andy Brown always says, buy my books, you'll love them. I think I was sitting here and listening, but also trying to think. I think my stance on all of it can be summed up by, you know, the honesty sessions and all this stuff. Just keep asking yourself why, and be honest with the answer. So why am I doing this? Why did I put that on a to-do list? Thomas doesn't like it. He doesn't like it at all. But if we're talking about perfectionism, why? Why do I care that the house is vacuumed before someone comes over? Or why? I don't know. Like I said to you, man, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to have the answer on this one, because I haven't been able to conquer it myself, and I think we do too much.
That's all right. I don't think that we can have anything better than what Chris and Lou's done. So let's close it. Lou, why don't you close today?
Okay.
500 words or less.
Hey guys, you're gonna have to stop putting her down, because the female audience is just killing it for Louise. All right. They actually giving us now rave reviews on Louise, and they actually asked Cam to stop putting her down, which I said I defended you, Cam. I defended you. I said he wouldn't know how to put Louise down, so I told him it's not possible. So
Yeah, we
Louise,
end up with the feminist movement, mate. A bunch of people got together, thought they had a good idea that made no sense, and now we're stuck. So
Oh,
He's
I
good.
don't even.
He's good. He's good.
it doesn't.
I didn't ask you to close, man. Can you just shut up for a minute, man?
The day we're not allowed to call someone out for not talking any sense is the day I quit life. Really, that stops. And it's not just Louise. To all you female listeners out there, if you listen to all the podcasts, I call everyone out on their bullshit, and everyone calls me out. So get over it and toughen up.
Build a bridge. Get over it. All right, Lou.
Well, I don't even know who my female fans are, so it's not.
You've got
some
two
kind
out
of-
there, definitely.
It's not some kind of army or anything that I've put together. If there's females out there,
No,
listening,
they're not.
good on them. Oh God, how do I close it? I guess the thing that, like you said, Thomas, I'm not acting now. I'm not putting on a show. I guess that the nuts and the bolts of it is that I really thought about a particular person and how I seen perfectionism drive this particular person and how it can control your life a lot of people put up a shield because they think it protects them, but it actually stops them from being seen in life. And that's the shame about it, is you can protect yourself and think that you're protecting yourself, but you're actually putting yourself at such a disadvantage from being seen, because this particular person is such a beautiful person who has so much to give, but is so bogged down in having to portray this perfect and everything perfect, because what's the world going to think of me because of my past? And that's the real shame.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, wow. That's nice. Okay, well, we're going to give about 15 seconds. I thought that we have a few minutes. We're going to give 15 seconds for people who don't want to hear swear words on this podcast, because we are going to now give our listeners the privilege to see what we do usually after podcast.
Oh,
So after podcast, this is when we actually come back here and we
debrief.
give each other a few minutes of a debrief on
You
what.
just said people who don't like swear words, mate. People who don't like swear words need to turn off.
That's what I asked. So they will leave. So we're giving them like 15 seconds for them to
Seconds
leave,
turn off.
so that the rest of the audience can. Oh, maybe there's only one person. I told my wife you better keep it on. And anyway, so the rest of the audience is going to listen to how we debrief the session. All
Yeah.
right. So here's the 15 seconds. They're starting now.
Yeah.
Well done,
All right,
Lou.
Lou, go. Give it to Cam like you usually do. Go.
No. We
Yeah,
have
give
another,
it back.
another six. We have another 6
15
seconds. You can't do that. I mean, you have to wait.
No, it's not. What? We're gonna wait till. What are we gonna wait till?
That's
Yeah.
it. Now you can. Let's
For
go.
fuck's sake,
Look,
it's
give
not
the
bad
kick.
enough that you bring out Brene Brown every week. This week you introduced Tears. You're kidding, aren't you? You're kidding.
Well,
It's usually
fair
you
or
crying
don't
this
fight at
time,
all.
Cam, isn't it?
Fight fair or don't fight at all.
well, you can't fake real emotion. I'm sorry.
On a serious note,
I reckon you can. Sorry, I reckon you
thought
can fake emotion. Sorry.
on a
I married
serious,
an actress. I reckon she's done it to me a couple of times.
on a serious
still
note, as
guilty.
far as the serious debrief goes, I wasn't joking when I said at the start of the podcast that the minute I realised during the research that it was another Brene Brown topic, I was fairly deflated. We've got to come up with something else, man. There's got to be other.
Yeah, well, mate, you've got the opportunity to look at the topic and say yes and no. Listen, you were too lazy to even
every
look at
week.
it.
She gets
That's
a
the
mention
problem.
every week. She gets a mention
Lou
every
puts
single
like
week.
4. She plays averages, man. It's like prospecting. 50 calls, you're going to get one. She puts 50 topics, we give her one, man.
Exactly. If I
I
haven't
reckon all
put the
10 of them
last
will straight out of
25
the
It takes
book.
me
topics
4
through,
hours to read all the topics she put up.
This week she fucking owned you, right?
Absolutely. Oh,
I
well.
don't care about that.
She fucking
Yeah,
no.
they're interested in what we're doing.
You show no research, bro.
What are you
Wrong with
talking
you,
about?
mate. I don't know which computer you have because it was like every other people but
Is this a real
Brunei.
debrief we're doing, or just we're still putting on a show?
No,
Because all 10 topics that got put up was straight out of the book. I read all the lines. And went,
Oh, bullshit, Cam.
no, but that's not an
Absolute
attack on you,
bullshit.
Lou. It's not an attack on you, Lou.
But what topics are you talking about then? Because if we
Because
go
I'm
back,
sure if we keep
Simple question. What was the alternative, though?
yeah,
What was the
exactly.
alternative, mate?
What was the
I'm sorry,
alternative?
what was the alternative?
Because since
We-
last
we- I put
Thursday,
up a couple.
last
I put up a couple. Thomas put up a couple. Renee Brown put up 42. We had to pick one.
no, but even Chris, in all honesty, since last Thursday, I'm the only one that's put topics through.
Because you put 64 of them.
I didn't. I put 5. I put
Last
6 through. I put
No,
6,
I think,
which is 6 more
listen,
than you.
Lou, this is where I said at the start, I'm not attacking you, right? I think we all fucked up by not realising it was another Brene Brown thing because.
But it's not another Brene Brown thing.
It is another Brown.
What was last week?
Brown.
Was last week Brene Brown?
gotta
Was the week
mention
before
again.
that Brene Brown?
Don't listen to him because he found out 20 minutes before.
Oh, fuck off.
Did research it. Listen,
Until
I still remember when you first started the podcast with us,
nothing
Yeah.
to do with Lou.
and I see what you're doing now. You're really growing, woman. You're doing great stuff.
I'm trying to.
Nothing to do with you, Lou.
Right. She was the only one that put bloody topics up, mate.
I think
He's right.
I don't know whether you see it. I don't know when your family actually see it, but the podcast is really now bringing the best out of you. It's and it's unfortunate. It's making Cam look worse by the
Oh,
way.
for fuck's sake. No, I'm not interested in having that kind of talk. It doesn't interest Brene Brown. It doesn't interest me. You want to be honest? It didn't interest me. I go,
Yeah, that's
fuck
cool,
you,
Ken.
Ken.
That's
It
cool,
was-
Ken.
it was-
We've got
No,
no
but
problem
when
with
she
that.
put no, but here's where and it's Lou. It's not about you, right? It's about Brene Brown.
Okay.
So when it came out and we all did it, we all went, yeah, number one sounds good, number one sounds good, number one sounds good. So we're all to blame. But I'm saying if we don't get diversity, no wonder there's only one person
But
watching.
we need to be proactive putting those the suggestions up.
That's
Or we need to be calling like we said, we need to be calling the listeners to put their suggestions up. Have we grabbed any of those? Because I've seen some good suggestions previously from the listeners.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know Charlotte's done a lot of work posting it up to let us see that. So maybe we pick one of those earlier from one of the past weeks or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like I'm open to discuss anything really, but it was just my topics this week. So I mean, and I didn't choose it. Chris, you voted for it. And
I thought it was a
That's
good
why
topic.
wasn't about you.
yeah, I know, Cam. I know that. But if you want
Actually,
diversity,
there was
you got to
another
bring
one I preferred
diversity.
than that one. There was another
gotta
one that
bring
I
it,
preferred
like-
rather than that one.
That's all right. Listen, thanks very much for the thing today. I thought that Lou, you done very well. I thought I all wanted to say too, you have changed big time. Also, the other thing is Cam did not believe me. How many lunches does Cam owe us, Chris?
4.
3.
See, 2 people said 4. I said 4. He says 3. Is it 4 or 3? Okay, here you go. See 4.
You
Yeah,
swore
you
twice
just
in
cost me
one.
dinner. I've just heard my wife swear from the kitchen, so thank you very much. You fucking idiots. Yeah, one job.
Oh God. Well, at least
Dickheads,
we're
a
all,
lot of you. So I've said the
Least
You
we're
two
all
swore,
words.
you swore twice. You swore twice.
Yeah, now
last
I've got a
week.
text. Now, what's the text says? Oh, well,
So
can't read that in
Another
public.
fucking dinner.
There's a lot of lunches being owed, and I was just thinking maybe for each lunch we're going to invite one of our listeners, but they're gonna have to come up with a nice topic that we pick. If we pick that topic, they invited to have that lunch with us. Guys, I'm gonna tell you now, it's gonna be a lot of good drinks, and it's gonna be a lot of good food. So maybe it's a good idea.
maybe, yeah.
We've
Good.
only got 3 listeners though, but we've got 4 lunches. That's the issue.
What do you mean?
That's not true. That's not true.
That's nice. Oh well, guys,
You're here.
today. Talk soon.
See you guys. See you next week. Bye.